Black Americans, no. They'll steal from you. They'll try to get you to sign the, prenup, whatever.
Prenup is good though.
I mean, no prenup, my bad, no prenup. They'll try to backdoor you for the other mans. They're just bad people in general. I think black people are really like just thugs.
But you were black yourself, brother?
I'm not black. I'm African.
You're African? Yeah. So what's the difference between African and African American?
African Americans don't know what part of Africa they came from.
In Ozoro Kingdom, we have of today visited Ozoro Kingdom, and by the grace of God, we've been able to meet with the king of Ozoro Kingdom, the leadership of NANS, Joint Campus Council, Delta State Axis, the zonal representatives are also here, sent by the zonal coordinator. And of course, we have the student union government led by Comrade Precious and the Dean of Student Affairs here representing the management of the Southern Delta University. Today we've come for fact findings. We've been able to go around the students that were affected by the incident. We've gone to the hospital to check that they are very fine and okay. But coming to the palace, the king has assured us that the perpetrators will be brought to book. And as a matter of fact, right in front of us, the organizers of the festival, the said festival, which was not intended to be a festival of rape, but rather a festival to bless barren women, as they've been arrested right in front of us by the divisional police headquarters here in Ozoro Kingdom. So we want to assure every well-meaning students of this our great state, Delta State, that our students are safe, and the king has assured us, alongside the President General of this kingdom, that going forward, whatever happens in this kingdom, the students will be well communicated to.
Well, here we go. Right smack dab in the middle of this, of us delineating and calling ourselves, now claiming ourselves as FBA. Our foundational black, we're no longer African Americans, we're foundational black Americans, and that's our lineage. The movement is delineation and getting reparations to repair or some form of recompense of what happened to us. Now, we were talking about Latinos and different groups that was coming out saying disparaging things about us. But for some reason, the Africans and Caribbean brothers and sisters crowbarred themselves into the conversation. It wasn't even about them at first, right? But a lot of Africans have a lot of disparaging things to say. Now, y'all know I just did a video yesterday where we were showing that the Somalians were in Selma. And they was trying to recreate the march on Selma on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And we was like, look at these people, man. They don't even consider themselves black. They say a whole bunch of disrespectful stuff about our culture. Then you want to reenact our culture, the culture that you said that we don't even have, right? Nigeria is the same. So now we're hearing about this Ozoro festival in Nigeria. Now, they like to come here and say bad things about us and say that we don't have a culture and we're wild. But Nigeria is a very dangerous place that a lot of people are fleeing. Now, this was a festival that was supposed to be about fertility in women. And they're claiming that thugs and criminals have hijacked it. Now, mind you, they got intact language, intact culture, everything. But you still have all this criminality and wild stuff that go on. They're saying that women are being assaulted and taken advantage of. I mean, it's real barbaric, right? You would think that this is 2,000 years ago, right? Women are being assaulted, even men, right? So now that it's got national attention, the police have now come out and arrested the chief organizer or priest that was setting everything up. The police is involved because it's got international attention, right? But now people talking like this.
This is 2026, and the people of Ozoro community in Delta State are still organizing a festival where ladies are expected to stay indoors, and if any lady is seen outside, she will be harassed. In 2026, such a festival still exists in Nigeria. If they explain Nigeria to you for a whole year, you will not understand this country. Make it make sense, guys. So what this means is that during this festival, if a lady is in her room alone and she has a medical emergency, that lady cannot struggle and go out to the nearest pharmacy, clinic, or hospital. On her way to that pharmacy or hospital to get medical attention, the men that are outside will harass her. Let's imagine another one. Imagine that a lady is in her room and then she gets attacked by hoodlums, burglars, or armed robbers. And somehow she manages to escape from that room. And then she's running outside for safety. She then meets plenty men who are outside celebrating the Ozoro festival. And then when these men see the lady, the first thing that comes to their minds is to harass her. Not to find out why she's outside. Not to find out why she's running. Not to help her. Not to save her. But instead, the same men she's running to for safety are the same men that will harass her. So
many of you almost blocked me because you thought I was blaming the women of Ozoro. I wasn't. Let me clarify. Before the festival even started, warnings circulated through community channels, through WhatsApp. Not to the women necessarily, but through the community's own infrastructure. The point isn't that every woman received the warning. The point is that the people that were running the festival knew how dangerous it was, and the solution wasn't to stop it, was to make the women disappear. That is a choice, a deliberate, organized, institutional choice. So when I say the system is working, I'm not saying that women knew and they stayed silent. What I'm saying is the people in charge had a management strategy, and the strategy is for women to be absent. Make yourself small, make yourself invisible. And if this happens to you, you should have stayed inside. And that is not cultural tradition, that is a protection racket. 5 people have been arrested, the government has condemned this, and I am glad. But I need you to notice something. The condemnation only happened after it went viral on TikTok, after this became embarrassing internationally. The question isn't why did this happen, it's that how many years has this gone on for and nobody had to answer for it? How many women have had to rearrange their lives for a festival that had no place existing? And how many times did this management strategy work because the women have complied because they had no other choice? Gender-based violence isn't always loud. Sometimes it's an institution that knows exactly what it's doing by building the silence from the start.
So you got this festival going on. You mean to tell me the president of Nigeria, right? And whoever's running these villages and running this, I mean, with social media, cell phones, cameras, everything going on today where there's no privacy, y'all still think it's okay to run something like this? And the sad part is, you guys know what goes on in these countries. And then you run here and got something to always say about us. And you're always talking about, well, y'all made fun of us when we were young. We were so traumatized. Well, we were young too. How about that? We were just children. Ain't nobody adults running around doing that. And if you notice, we ain't protesting in the street to get y'all ran up out of here the way that I showed the video of what they was doing in Ghana to get Nigerians kicked out and how they do in South Africa. They was running in hospitals, telling y'all got to leave the hospitals. Y'all mad at us because we called y'all names when y'all was children. But we ain't running up in hospitals telling Africans they got to leave. Right? We ain't running down the street chasing Africans out of the communities. We're not doing none of that. Absolutely none of it. None of it. Right? Y'all actually for years been invited to the communities on all levels, right? And it's to the point now where you have Africans calling this stuff out.
I love how everybody's mad about Shabuzi. But you guys all attack Miss Georgie when she tells you all the time that African kids, we're from the same place. Me and Shabuzi come from the same village. Igbo babes, Igbo people. African kids, I grew up with African parents who raised me under racist ideologies for Black Americans. When I talk about it, you guys say I'm pandering to Black Americans. I was raised to believe that we Africans were better than Black Americans. We work harder. Black Americans are lazy. Black Americans are just all vagabonds. When I tell these truths, you guys try to silence me because you want me to fall into line and lie because it sounds good. I don't know how to do that. I'm always going to speak the truth. Immigrants come to this country and think they're better than the Muslims who sacrifice to build. You get what I'm saying? Immigrants come here leaving their country that is so far to talk that are here, that shed blood to make it possible. I broke the spell of ignorance as an African to learn about Black Americans and what they actually went through. A lot of Africans don't do that. They feel entitled. I love how you guys are all liars. You know what I love about being African and not looking or sounding African is that I have experienced racism from Africans not knowing that I'm African. I've traveled Africa. I've traveled. See, I'm well cultured. I'm well traveled, right? And everybody assumes that I'm Black American. And most times I don't try to correct them because I want to see how they perceive me. I want to see how they treat me. They treat me differently until they figure out that I'm African. Until I put my foot down and be like, my guy, now me African bad girl, I be Nigerian baby, relax. I have experienced racism from immigrants in Africa because they thought I was a kata. So again, you guys can lie because it makes you feel good because you know now the truth is coming out. But like I said, a lot of you immigrants, not just Africans, you come here and think you're better than Black Americans because what the oppressors have told you. You all side with the oppressors because they told you African and Black people are wild, they're ghetto, they're this, they're that. The evidence is there. You can lie all you want, but the evidence is there. Thank you.
I made a video a couple of days ago talking about the two most racist things I heard in high school when I first moved here. But I just want to say there's nothing more racist than Africans towards African Americans. First of all, Africans think they are like better in a lot of ways. It's not me. I just know some Africans, some like pure Africans that were born there and spent so many years in Africa. And the stuff they be saying behind African Americans are crazy. Making fun of their culture, making fun of the way they dress. I don't even think I can say some of the things.
And this is Africans calling out their own community. So you know what's sad? Because I never, ever hear Africans talk about this stuff. Even on Godfrey and the Kabir Bajabia Miller show. They wasn't really, Godfrey do at times, but Kabir, they will never address this. So Kabir, you're telling me that inside your family, might not be from your dad, but inside your family, you never heard your Nigerian family say bad things about Black Americans? You're going to sit right here and tell us that? I'm going to call you a liar. And then, but you will never bring it up. And this is what we got a problem with. Yes, we admitting, we called y'all names. We called everybody names. Yeah, we called you African booty scratcher. They called me pizza face back in the day because I had bumps on my face. They called me Mighty Mouse and midget and all kinds of names because I'm short. Right? I got called all kinds of names. Right? Keebler Elf. Right? Yes. But as part of our culture, we bust on each other. Right? That's what we do. So when y'all was the new people on the block, y'all got bust on too. Right? But now Africans is exposing y'all lies. But there was an African woman that was calling the Africans out, but there's an African man that was on here. And he was also going in on Africans about the culture in Africa and how they abuse children. And it's somewhat better to be raised here than on the continent itself.
I keep hearing Africans say, don't raise your kids in America because they're going to turn out to be very stubborn, disrespectful, and usually they fail in life. But let me tell you guys what I've seen so far. Most African kids I've met who were born here in America are very respectful, hardworking, they have careers, degrees, good businesses, and they are doing amazing things. I feel like these kids know how to blend the African values their parents taught them with the opportunities here in America. So in my opinion, it's not the location, it's the parenting and the environment you create at home. So maybe we should focus more on parenting rather than blaming America because good values thrive everywhere. African parents are saying this because our American kids are exposed to 911. They can easily call 911. This is not possible in Africa. You cannot call the police on your parents. And in Africa, our parents are used to beating us, hitting us with sticks, with irons, with all types of. Our parents beat us, even in our schools. They beat us. You can go to school and come back with all types of wounds, like marks on your body. Like you see a child will tell you, I got this mark from this particular teacher. Those things are not happening in America. And when you come back home as an African kid with blood oozing out of your body or your parents will be like, yeah, it's because you were stubborn. They're not going to be mad at the teacher usually. But you can't do this in America. So I feel like that's what African parents are scared of because they can't hit their kids. Their kids are going to call 911. Instead, they'll send them to their relatives back home. And the irony is that your relatives cannot take care of your child like you will do. So maybe we should focus more on raising our kids in a very respectful, nice environment than sending them back home.
For you crazy Africans, a lot of you come to the US and you don't mind your business and you just assume that your black American brothers over here don't like you. You are crazy. Like, you are crazy. Who told you these people don't like you? They genuinely love you. They like you. They just want to see us making the right decision. They want to make sure that we are staying in our country. They want us to build our own country. They want us to stay in Africa so that it will also be easy for them if they decide one day to come to Africa. But if we are all running away from Africa, traveling overseas, coming to Europe, going to Canada, coming to America, where will they call home? Because as a matter of fact, we are the only people, we Africans are the only people who genuinely love them from the bottom of our heart. And they are aware of that. They know within them. And how do they know? When they go Africa, the way we receive them, the way we treat them, the way we welcome them, the love we show them. What are you talking about? What's your problem? A lot of you open your mouth wide open, and you don't think before you speak.
So you see that man, he said that he'd rather raise his children here in America than be around African and Nigerian culture because they abuse the children. But I thought the culture was so much better. We see they got the Ozoro stuff going on over there. They're not respecting the women. I already know what they do to women. I know what other cultures do. I'm gonna say this. And Black American culture, I'm gonna be honest. Now, women are abused in every culture. That's a fact. That's a fact. I'm a husband and I'm a father of 2 daughters. So I'm not gonna be sitting here and lie. Women experience abuse in every culture. But I'll say this because I've been around the world and I've been amongst different cultures, right? When you go into the Caribbean, and this is just it's what it is. The abuse in putting your hands on women is normal. When you go into them South American countries, when you go into Europe, because let's just get let's take our black people out the equation for a minute. Eastern Europe, those places, man, they beat the hell out of women. India, and then you go into Africa, Asia. Man, listen, why do you think they have this women's rights thing all over the world in the UN 2030 agenda, right? In the Black American culture, women got more say-so and more rights than ever. And I'm not saying that in Black American culture, women don't get abused, but it's nothing like it is in places like Jamaica and Haiti. When you go down into the South American countries, right? And what they do to women amongst those natives down there and all in those countries down there. Up in Bosnia and Russia and those places in India. And, oh, man, please. Man, listen, the Arab countries, women get unalived. Nobody cares, right? That's not really part of our culture like that. It happens, but not like nothing like, see, we're traumatized people, so we believe all the lies that they tell us, and we really believe that we're the worst people on the planet, and we're not. We're not. What they're doing overseas to people in them African countries, and them Arab countries, and them Eastern European and Western European countries, we can't hold a candle to them, man. Man, you got to be kidding me. No. So we got a great culture. And we're not perfect. We're under siege. We were a minority group under people that was oppressing us. And we adopted some of the behaviors of our oppressor and we did it to each other. But nothing like these people do in their own country where they're the majority. Where the majority rule and the way that they do and treat their people. We're nothing like them. That's why I tell you, do not believe the lie. As long as they got you believing the lie, they got you perpetuating the lie. We are not those people, man. We are not those people, man. So when you see this kind of stuff going on, we ain't in the street marching to get other black people kicked out the country. We're delineating and we're separating ourselves from the group and saying we're our own group. We ain't got nothing to do with that. We're doing that. But we ain't spreading hate on nobody or none of that kind of stuff. But y'all gotta let me know what y'all think, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comments section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.